Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's May 15th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and we're halfway through um, another month here. Seems like the months are just clicking by. I don't know where the time's going, but uh, had a nice move early. If you missed this early move, which there's really only um, one good opportunity to get in it. Really dear at 7 o'clock. There's a little bit of a lower high right here. Um, it's on this bar right here. You can see that that was at 719. So you might have entered right there. I didn't mark it because we weren't back to the trend line. It probably could be green. I'll mark it green because if you caught it, you could ride this all day. Or, well, I shouldn't say all day. You could ride this to till we got the break of the trend line here. And this is perfect price action. Nice strong trend. You know this strong trend's not going to last. I mean, you can go read, if you're one of our premium members, you can read, I was calling this at 9 o'clock this morning that, we would probably, that this was too steep. It's not a healthy trend. We were about to run into the 2400 level again, so I figured we'd probably either go sideways or we might sell off. And with a trend this strong, this is probably what you expect to go sideways. So this market is so predictable. That's why I like it. The volume in it as well, no slippage and so forth. But this was pretty easy to call early this morning. But lower high right here. So you might have went long right there. That's a weak form of a second entry. You'd like for it to, this bar, let me make this a little bit bigger. That's probably a little hard to see. You would like for this bar where the with the lower high, you would have liked for it to tick lower and then turn it, and then get a break above it. So, but this is still a lower high, so you can still treat that like a lower high and a correction. So you can still treat that. This is a double top, so first entry, lower high, second entry. But again, I like it better when it breaks lower and you actually get a move lower. But notice what happens. You're moving up. You get this trend line off those first few bars. We're coming up. This is the first pullback to it. Notice there's a first entry short, second entry short. So that's a failed second entry short after what looks like might be a range day and a failed break higher. But it's also a breakout pullback long. So I like that trade. It's right into the high of the day. But we're moving pretty strongly here. It's all straight up. Again, it's right off the trend line. Um, I like that one just to see if we get a second leg. And of course, you want to measure that first leg. There's leg one. And we're looking for a measured move. And lo and behold, we got just about there. Maybe missed it by a tick or two. And then we start correcting and we push one more time higher. That's pretty much it as far as being able to go any higher for the day. We couldn't sell off. But generally, when you get around these century marks, what I call them 2400, 2300, 2500, those are very emotional areas. There'll be a lot of selling that comes in if market's driving up into it, and there'll be a lot of buying coming in if the market's dropping down into those levels. Generally, that's kind of how it works. Nothing's ever 100%, but that's generally the process you'll see. So didn't surprise me at all that we just went sideways from here. Uh, with this strong of a move up, there was a lot of buying, but there's just wasn't enough buying to push it through, or either that or there's too much selling at this level, one of the two. And generally, the market will hang around this area. Even if it breaks on through, it'll pull back and test it a few times generally before it'll go on, or it'll pull back and it'll just fall back below it every time. So we'll just have to see where we go from here. But anyway, I like that trade. If you catch this, you get a runner. Then we finally get a break here. Notice you got a little double bottom. First entry short, second entry short. Again, it's right into the high of the day, but you're going to have some shorts trapped right here trying to pick a top. So I like that one just to push on through. and make that new high. This has been a strong trend, so I'd be real surprised that you don't make a new high. And if it was that strong going down, you're probably going to make a new low. And generally, you'll probably retest this high a couple of times. You see, we tried 2 more times before the day was over, but we just couldn't get back through there. So really, we spent the majority of the day in a range here. So first it was real tight, and then it just got a little broader, but still a range. But this is a range with an upward bias until we got the break and the new high, and then we just kind of had a little bit of a downward bias from that point forward. So it's tempting to go short right there, but when you start trying to pick tops on a day like this, you better wait on a lower high. And I'm not even that crazy about this one. The reason I like it though is that we're back. Notice that you're getting a little support right there, and then it's acting as resistance, and it pushed through and then closes lower. So it's a lower high. At this point, you got to figure, hey, we'll probably get at least a measured move, and we may come all the way back down and test these lows. And you see we get a perfect measured move to the tick there, and we end up actually coming down and testing those lows. I was tempted to go long here, but that bar is just too bearish. It is a double test of this level. We do have a break here and a new low with 2 legs to a new low. If that bar would have been a little bit more bullish, I'm probably okay with you probably being aggressive there, because it's a double test of this level. It's a little bit of a trap with that 1 tick lower. If you saw this trend, it's played out. So, you may take that just hoping to catch it back up to the upper side again. But what really scares me about this bearish bar is you may go back into this original level and turn back down. So I'm just not crazy about it. I think you're better off to skip it, but I'll give it a green. And then, of course, we come back up, and notice there's a hidden second entry here too. There's a move up, a little correction, then a second leg up. So there's 2 legs up there. Fairly bearish bar. It's an inside. These are all 3 inside bars, but notice how they're getting a little bit more bearish each time. This is a range. It's a double test of this level here. We tested it here, then we tested it 4 times in a row here. So you figure we're probably going to come back down to here, and that's exactly, we actually go a little bit further than that. I mean, once it takes off here, it just really, the bottom drops out of it. And then you break a little lower here. The only reason I don't like going long here is you don't have a break of this trend line yet. Notice we get one and come back, and then it's just a little bit too late in the day to, you consider that a little high or low, but it's too neutral. Several of them going in a row, they're dojis. And the reason I don't like this one, you got 3 in a row, and one of them's a doji, so I just don't really like that entry. I think it's too risky that late in the day. So not a lot of trades today, but if you caught one of these on the way up, really there's only one good one you could catch right here. And so if you did catch this one, you get a nice runner, and I'd look for that measured leg. And then after that, we finished out our trend, and we're just kind of going sideways, but there is a little bit of a bearish bias from this point on, because this trend line's played out, and most of your movements all to the downside here in your setup. So, but yeah, not a lot happening today. It was a nice move. Even with a nice move like that, there just weren't a lot of entries, not a lot of safe entries. Generally, when you start getting a day like this where you get all these little bars stacked up and they just keep going higher, you can generally use any pullback to the trend line with a slight correction as a chance to enter. So you might have considered entering on some of these. Any of them would have worked. Any of those entries, if you'd entered on any of these on the pullback to the trend line, they would have worked. This one you didn't. Notice how you're hitting the upper side, and now you're really starting to fade here. That's not a good sign. So I wouldn't enter up here. You might have entered on this one if it hadn't stacked up across there several times. But yeah, going back to this, a lot of times if you just got to risk these entries, or you're not going to get one. And this doesn't look like that strong a trend, but it is. Whenever you see these bars that just keep going higher and higher and higher, and there's lots of little short bars with dojis, and nothing ever breaks lower, you just keep making higher highs. That's a strong trend, even though just at a glance it doesn't appear that way and it doesn't feel that way, but it is a strong trend. And generally, you just got to take what you can get on those trends. So, um, but yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you started off your trading day on a positive note today. If you didn't find many trades in the afternoon, that's because there weren't many. So maybe it'll pick up here as the week goes on. But I'm going to wrap it up for the day. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.